Esse final de semana agora eu tava no Alto Paraíso. Vai, bom demais. Friday, so on Fridays I go to Luta Livre, which is a Brazilian form of submission wrestling, and that's where we have the main Luta Livre training here in town.
O cara tá te ajudando, você vai usar a força dele, entendeu? Você usa a força dele.
I don't have a job, you know, like a real job, like, you know, like a boss or anything. But, you know, this is what I do. I just go from gym to gym all day, train. I was born in São Paulo, and then we moved to Brasília, and we left Brasília in 87 or 88. And we went to Connecticut, and then we moved to Oklahoma. That's where I first started UFC, or first saw UFCs. And back in the day, we called it everything from extreme fighting to NHB, no holds barred, cage fighting to vale tudo. So my dad got the call to go to Brazil in '97, and we came back to Brazil in '98. And I've been in Brasília ever since, more or less. But when I graduated high school in 2000, I used my college money my parents had saved up to travel a little bit, and I went to Holland, I went to Thailand, I went to the United States to train at Pat Militich's. I've always been pretty, easily accessible. Wherever I go, I make friends, so, people have always tried to help me out. I was offered my first fights in 2002, because I was Eve Edwards' sparring partner at the time, and he got me my first, I think, 10 fights or so. Também, garçom já fui, que mais? Lutador profissional, segurança. Eu faço minha própria comida, né? Eu não gosto de comer na rua, assim, porque já passei muito mal na rua. E tanto aqui no Brasil, também na Tailândia, nos Estados Unidos, tanto faz. Pode ser o lugar que for. Eu gosto de comer o que eu fiz. Mesmo que seja um hambúrguer ou um miojo. Eu gosto de eu fazer. Ainda mais também. Vai somando todos os dias, vai comendo fora e... Yeah, right. Prohibit MMA on TV now. Yeah, right. Too late. Maybe 2 years ago. 2-3 years ago. But not now. Now it's on global. No way. You got millions of people watching. Media and news, there's always going to have to be something to report. When what happened with me in Rio got blown out of proportion, what did I do? I left town for a week, man. I turned off my phone, everything, and it just died down on its own. I'm sure I got called like 100 times for interviews. I when I got back, I had like 20 voicemail messages from Whoatv, Global, Rede Record, all these websites trying to get an interview. I was like, man, golly, wait till the next UFC. And sure enough, UFC was that next weekend, and the call stopped. There's that equilibrium between hard work and, a place where I know a lot of people and I have a history and, I grew up. So that, together with my access to Mother Nature, every day I just go to the lake in between training sessions, or come to the waterfall, or, jog a hill, or do hill sprints, or whatever I need to do. I can do it all out here in Brasília and still have great training and always keep, improving as
as a pro athlete, even here in town, you know, it's got great people to work with here, so.
I mean, heck yeah. If you're 35, 37, 38, and 39, and you want to compete, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Like I said earlier, you know, spare no cost. But at the same time, you know, I guess there's got to be some sort of a reason for it. You know, you got to have a doctor sign off and say, no, he needs this. He has to have this. You know, that's different. Now, if it's just, you know, me, a young 30-year-old dude, you know, got fine hormone levels, you know, I start, you know, hitting the weights and clenbuterol and stanozolol sandwiches, then yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, I'd become the Incredible Hulk, or, you know, a monster, turn into a dangerous human being maybe. But that's not what's going on. These guys are taking it, you know, to look, you're training 2-3 times a day. Your body needs all the help it can. I wouldn't hate on any other guy for using it. I've never used any steroids in my life. You can tell by my voice. Most guys that have used steroids get a really deep voice. You know, their Adam's apple like drops or some shit. I don't know, but I'm clean. I'm 100% clean. Never used any of that. Landscape-wise, I think that Brasília is it's a work in progress because it keeps growing. They planned it for, if you read up on the history of the city, it was planned for 500 to 750,000 inhabitants in the Plano Piloto. Now, we've gone past that 3 times, I think. Not in the Plano, but in flux, you know, day in and day out traffic. So as far as MMA, it's growing. That's all I'll say. It's growing. It's got a lot to do. We've done some good things up until now, but it's definitely not anywhere close to Rio or São Paulo or Curitiba, the 3 main cities. I'd say it's a second-tier city, like Natal or Belém do Pará or Amazonas and Brasília are the second-tier city, in Belo Horizonte, where that also have fight camps and a burgeoning MMA scene, but it's not as big as Rio, São Paulo, and Curitiba. Aí, ó, os macaquinhos. Eles comem tudo isso aí. Todo dia. Tem uns 15 que vem aqui. Aí eu deixo as bananas para eles. Depending on where I need to go, I'll go there, and I give class also at this moment at 3 gyms in town: MMA Cerrado, Cerrado MMA, Distrito da Luta, and also Popó Fight Club. Popó's you know, an incredible person. He's doing good work as a deputado now, you know, and he opened up the gym, and he extended his hand and asked me to run the MMA portion of the program for him.
O Carlo Prater aqui é o treinador de MMA e é um dos nossos professores, também um dos nossos lutadores aqui da Popó Fight Club. É um grande lutador, é uma grande pessoa, apesar que na última luta ele não estava no dia dele, né? O cara foi melhor, aproveitou a melhor oportunidade, mas eu tenho certeza que a gente aprende nas nossas derrotas. Ele aprendeu muito e vai dar a volta por cima, e a gente está aqui para ajudá-lo.
Really ingrained in Brasilia culture is mixed martial arts and you know, high performance mixed martial arts at that. People, if they do want to train, it's socially, is what I found. It's socially. They want a place to go, you know, to meet up with their buddy and then high five, and then they get to move around a little bit, you know, do some things, and then leave and go get some açaí and talk about it later.
Mesma coisa agora, gente. Mesma coisa. Yeah, I've got most of the people that train with me, they're all males. It's hard for me to have female students. It's just, I've had 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, you know, here or there, but it's hard to keep them just because I'm an exigent trainer. I'm a pro athlete myself, so I sort of reflect a little bit of that off onto my students. I'd say there's a core group of about 15, 20 strong candidates to do something in the future. You know, besides myself, there's of course Paulo Thiago and Honey Aya who've made it to the UFC.
Puxa pro meio, Lúcio. Puxa pro meio. Puxa pro meio. Puxa pro meio. Puxa pro meio, Lúcio. Aê! Muito bem.
You know, Lucio's a natural. I first time I worked with him was last year. I met him, and I think he had a fight that next like 2 or 3 weeks after that at Shuto. But I already knew right off the bat, you know, he's real calm, and he reminded me of myself a lot. He looks like he's centered and focused on what he's doing. He came here to train. He's not bullshitting around or anything. And then I went and I trained with him, and you know what? He's got good skills, man, really good skills. The main attributes, I would say, are athletic ability and a calm, inactive activeness, you know, in his mind. His mind's always working. He might not be showing that he's working that much, but his mind's always working. He's always in a fight. And then Stanley, that other boy that was working with him, that kid is all heart, man. He has like less than 2 years of training total, but he's already given great work to guys like Lucio and Vicente and some of these other guys. So he's becoming a really good sparring partner, and I don't even think he's at a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's becoming a really good sparring partner. Some of these guys, just because he's fearless and he's young, he's 20, and he's really athletic too. He's strong, so you know, he's got a couple attributes that are going to be, you know, in his favor in an MMA career. Working out with Vicente today, I think he's at his heaviest I've ever seen him. I think he's like 88 kilos, man. The kid's so thick right now. Vicente, he's put on a good 5 kilos of muscle mass over the last 6-7 months. So that kid's going to be something too. Vicente Luke, he already is a monster, but he's going to be a killer at 170 pounds. I don't see he can't make 155. Paulo Teodoro, you know, Paulo Henrique, he's a really good boxer. Got pretty good jiu-jitsu, really scrappy, you know, all-around skill set. He's just really athletic, and he's game. He's always game. He likes to fight. You can see it in his eyes. His eyes get big. Neto, also another guy that's like, he's like my right-hand man. He's the only guy that wrestles here in Brasília besides myself. And, you know, he's wrestled all over Brazil with me. Really good training partners. They're all about my same size. Oh, it's so hard in Brazil. It's hard anywhere, but especially in Brazil, you know, usually what people try to do is they try to, you know, go to the U.S. or go to Europe. The U.S. demand is just insatiable for MMA right now. So that's usually the path that your typical Brazilian dreams of. You know, that fights MMA, trains hard, fights whoever he can, and, you know, dreams of making it to the UFC, making it to the big stage. I feel like I've done good work up until now. I've got a lot more to do, though. You know, the way I figure, my career just started. You know, I just signed with the UFC earlier this year. Everything's on the line now. Everything I've done up to this point has just served to prepare me for this moment in my life. You know, here in Brasília, the main setback to a lot of the upcoming MMA professionals is that they pick a team and they stay at that team, and if you stay with one group of individuals, you're only going to get as good as they can make you. You really need to work your way up, and what I mean by that is you don't want to burn bridges, but when you realize you're not getting the same, you need to be getting not beat up in the gym in the sense that you're coming home with bruises and you're getting fucked up all the time, your neck's sore, you're always bloody. No. I mean, you're always getting taken past your physical limit on a daily basis. That's a good gym for you. When that stops happening, you need to go find another gym. And that's as a professional MMA fighter. Half the time, I'm at war with myself because I'm not and ATT, you know, and Eve Edwards and all my buddies are calling me saying, man, you got to come, man. Come on, man. Blah, blah. And I'm also torn, but if I go, you know, how is my family going to be? Are they going to be able to pay bills? Is everything going to be all right? Oh, my God, you know, so I'm always torn, man. It's something it's totally me, too, because I'm like the only guy I know that has picked to be with my family over my career. I'm like the only professional fighter I've ever known that's done that.